The gentleman in the jail, what's your name?
I'm here by special appearance, ma'am, and I reserve all my rights and none of them. I am the beneficiary and priority leader.
Stop. I asked you what your name was.
What my name is?
Your name. Do
Are
you
you
have a
talking,
name?
are you talking to the living man or to the trust?
Which do you want me to talk to?
The trust.
All right. Is the trustee of the trust here?
Yes, she's sitting. That is you, ma'am.
Oh, no, I'm not any trustee of your trust. I don't know anything about your trust.
We
What?
haven't established the status of the court yet, ma'am.
All right.
Is this
Never
the
mind.
court of
We're
record?
moving. Deputy at the jail, are you there?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to save him till later. So if you need to put him back for a while, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Thank you. And we'll go back to what's his name, Deputy?
I
It is
apologize.
Mr. Palooza.
Oh, that's Mr. Palooza who has two cases. Yeah, we'll save him to the last. And all right, I believe Mr. Patterson, that brings up you and Mr. Palooza.
And judges, standby counsel, I'll, whatever the court wants me to do, but I would propose I just leave my screen black and mute it until and unless I'm needed.
All right. Well, we will be on the record right now in BU 2026 CR 25 and BU 2026 MR 19. What is that one? Let me look at it. Mr. Patterson, do you know about that case?
I am vaguely aware that there's an extradition case on a misdemeanor, but other than that, I know nothing about it.
So which case are you ready to take up, Mr. Baco, or both?
Your Honor, I do know both are on today. I do think the CR case is going to be the one that takes up most of the time here. The other one's an extradition matter.
All right, so this is not a traffic matter. This is charged as count one, interference with a law enforcement officer, falsely reporting information intending to obstruct law enforcement. Count two, possession of marijuana. Count three, driving while suspended, a second or subsequent conviction. And count four, unlawful vehicle registration. All right, Mr. Baca, any opening statement?
Your Honor, state would waive any opening statements at this time.
Mr. Patterson, any opening statements from the defense?
Judge, I don't have any part in this, so I'm going to black my screen
Oh,
out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you probably better. Otherwise, I'll keep calling on you. But before you go, let's talk to well, that's fine. All right, Mr. Pelosa, what's going on here? You're wanting to represent yourself, is that right?
Ma'am, we haven't established the status of this court yet. I don't know you. Do you have a valid oath of office?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, I accept your oath of office and your offer to be my public servant and trustee.
I'm not your trustee in the legal sense or in any sense, sir.
You're a public trustee, ma'am.
Call me what you will, but I'm not accepting it. Go ahead.
I would like you to take notice of the notice and demand that this court has received on Monday, and as the prosecution here to provide evidence from that notice and demand.
Noticed in demand, is that what you're saying?
Yes, it was filed on Monday.
Monday, March 22nd. I see that today, no, I see that on March 23rd, that would be Monday. You filed something called Notice and Demand Facts filed by Shelley Flaherty with Loren Court Reporting. Are you claiming to be Shelley Flaherty with Loren Court Reporting?
No,
Sir?
I'm not claiming that.
Well, that's the only thing I see that's entitled, and it's not. So, fax transmission sheet, date March 23rd, 26, to the clerk of the District Court, Butler County, State of Kansas versus Gary Michael Pelosa, from Shelley Flaherty, Loren Court Reporting, Cape Coral, Florida.
Yeah, that's my notice and demand to the court.
Well, that's 15 pages reportedly by this Miss Flaherty, not you.
I signed it.
Then why did you make demand? Okay. All right, go ahead. What do you want me to consider in this document that doesn't seem to have any Kansas authority in it, does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, you make your argument and show me where that is. Tell me what Kansas law needs applied and how. Go ahead.
I'm challenging territorial jurisdiction. Is the prosecution ready to provide ownership of the locus and quo of this matter at 114 Highway 54 on Andover?
He
Does
doesn't
the,
have to show that he owns that.
no, the state has to show that. I don't even see the state here, ma'am.
Okay, that request is denied. Next item,
I reject that premise.
noted.
Okay, I'm here by special appearance and I reserve all my rights and I waive none of them. I am the beneficiary and priority lien holder via a Kansas UCC lien registration number 5676382 over the defendant, the Gary Michael Pelosa Social Security Trust, registration number, last four digits ending in 0762. And as a beneficiary and priority lien holder, I have the authority to order you as trustee to dismiss and discharge this court matter case immediately and release my collateral, the defendant, Gary Michael Pelosa, from the custody of Butler County Jail to the streets immediately.
Now, are you Gary Michael Pelosi or are you someone else?
I'm the beneficiary. Gary Michael Pelosa is a trust.
All right, if Gary Michael Pelosi fails to appear, I'm going to have to issue a warrant for his arrest, but that's kind of silly since you're sitting in the county jail. What's your motion or request at this time, sir? To dismiss the case?
I want to process. There's no jurisdiction in this matter, ma'am. There's nothing in the record that showed that this court has jurisdiction. Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 of the Constitution, which you said you swore an oath to, states those cases in which a state shall be a party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. You cannot sit here being employed by the state of Kansas and judge a case that your employer, the state of Kansas, pays you for. That's a conflict of interest. Are you a member of the bar in good standing, ma'am?
Sir, at this time, I deny your allegations that
Is
I
your
do
bar
not have
number 12910?
Sir, at this time, your motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction is denied, and you can take that up further if you appeal this with the Kansas Supreme Court.
You cannot you cannot deny a motion. Subject matter can be challenged at any time, ma'am, and there's
I
no
have jurisdiction, sir, over the subject matter.
there is no subject matter. What is the subject matter? There is no contract rights.
Denied. Let's move on. What's your
You
next
can't.
point?
You can't do that, ma'am.
I can. I
You're violating your oath of office without any authority, and I have the sheriffs here that can make a citizen arrest to any judge that violates their oath of office. You're violating your oath of office. You do not have jurisdiction. The Constitution says so at Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2.
We'll let the appellate courts decide that, sir. Let's move on. What's the next point?
We don't need it. You can't move on without jurisdiction.
I can and I will. You don't have anything else you want to say before we start this trial?
What trial? You don't have jurisdiction to have a trial.
All right, Mr. Baca, do you want to call your first witness?
I can if the court's ready to proceed, Your Honor.
I'm ready to proceed unless the defendant has anything legitimately he wants to have heard. Doesn't sound like he does.
Your Honor, the
Please.
state at this time is ready to proceed and would call Sergeant Akers to the stand. Were you on duty in your current employment capacity on January 21st, 2026?
Yes, I was.
And on that day, around 2040 hours, do you recall your location?
Yes, I do.
What was that location?
I was parked running stationary traffic enforcement at Highway 54, mile marker 232, which is thereabouts the intersection of Highway 54 and Santa Fe Lake Road, Augusta, Kansas.
And then what, if anything, did you observe at that location at that time?
I was parked facing westbound in a section of the roadway, which is the median, which is clear from traffic. And at that time frame, I observed a vehicle on my rear radar that was traveling at 45 miles per hour, which was also westbound.
Okay. And do you know the posted speed on that particular roadway?
I do. It's 65 miles per hour.
And so your testimony is this vehicle seemed to be driving slower than the posted speed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Once you made this observation, what did you do next?
And it's strange and odd. And at this point, I was determined to follow the vehicle so that way I could see if there was anything wrong with the driver and or the vehicle or any other kind of investigation that need merited.
And so you started following this vehicle at this point, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And as you were following this vehicle, what, if anything, did you observe?
At one point, it actually slowed down to 22 miles per hour. At this point, I was able to get up behind the vehicle to attempt to get the tag off of the vehicle so I could continue trying to see what was going on.
And were you able to get any information from that tag?
I actually wasn't. When I had first ran the tag, I ran it on my own, which I had suspected maybe it was a Missouri tag. I could make out the letters, but there was something covering over the state, so I wasn't exactly sure of the state registration. But I had ran it, which I suspected was through Missouri, on my mobile data terminal, or MDT, which has NCIC access, and I had a return that said that it was or canceled, removed.
Okay. And so after you made this observation about the tag, what did you do at this point?
I wanted to confirm and be doubly sure. At this point, it was already a violation based off the NCIC hit that it was illegal registration, but I wanted to be absolutely positive before taking an enforcement action. So I continued to follow the vehicle and attempt to identify any which way that I could confirm if it was a Missouri plate.
Okay. And so at some point, were you able to confirm the tag?
I was.
Okay.
Go ahead.
At some point, did you attempt to stop this vehicle?
I did.
Can you describe that process as you stopped the vehicle?
At the time in which I continued to follow it, it had driven all the way to the Andover Quick Shop, which is located at 114, I believe, West Highway 54 in Andover, Kansas. As the vehicle was turning into the parking lot, I was able to clearly see the license plate said Missouri over the top. At this point, I was able to confirm not only what I had seen, but also what I had checked through dispatch, that it was truly a canceled, revoked, removed license plate. And that's at this point when the vehicle pulled into a stall is where I made my traffic stop or initiated contact.
So the vehicle had stopped before you turned on any lights or siren, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And once the vehicle stopped, what did you do at that point?
As the vehicle stopped, I recalled the driver, a white male, exited the driver's seat. I exited the driver or my vehicle to make contact with it to let him know that I was actually conducting a traffic stop. And the reason why was that the license plate on his vehicle didn't return valid.
And did this particular driver have a response to that?
He explained to me that he was not necessarily the owner of the car, but that he was using the car and he was transporting the car from its place where it was purchased in Missouri back to a location in Kansas. I don't exactly recall where. He also explained to me that he was doing this on the behalf of somebody else.
And do you recall what that name and date of birth was that he gave you at that time?
He gave me the name Garrison Michael with the date of birth that the driver gave me was March 12th of 1958. And again, identified himself as Garrison Michael and gave himself or explained that his short name was Gary.
And did you receive any kind of response from your mobile data terminal?
I did not, actually.
What exactly did the terminal indicate to you, if anything?
I wasn't able to get a return through Kansas for an individual by the name of Garrison Michael. Actually, there was another Garrison Michael that was since deceased. However, I wasn't able to find exacting information as provided to me by the driver.
Did you also check the name along with the date of birth you were provided?
I did.
And did the date of birth help you give any further information?
It did eventually.
Okay. After you received this indication from your terminal, what did you do at that point?
I met back with the driver to try to confirm the information. At this point, I had already suspected maybe there wasn't full information that the individual was giving me, or I even suspected at this point that the individual was giving me fictitious information. I asked the individual or the driver a series of questions about their history or physical identity, which included addresses in which they've lived, states in which they've lived, telephone numbers, places in which they've lived, people which they've lived with. Based out of this information, I learned that the driver indicated he was from an address in Wichita, in addition to having previously lived in Texas. In addition to that, there was a name in common with a girlfriend because of the place that he was recently living at in Platte, Missouri. I used this information and continued to search through law enforcement databases and was able to find Gary Michael Pelosa with the same date of birth with exacting addresses from both Wichita, Missouri, and Texas, and associations with the same individual he identified as his girlfriend.
Did you ask the defendant about the discrepancies in the name between Garrison Michael and Gary Michael Pelosa?
I did on a couple of times, or a couple of different times during this incident.
What was his response?
At first response was that he didn't recognize who Gary Michael Pelosa was, and in fact, he actually even denied that this was who he was. As time went on through the investigation, in addition to some other things that occurred, to include the discovery of an old Kansas driver's license that bore his image and was found in the vehicle, he eventually explained that he is Gary Michael Pelosa, but he doesn't identify as Gary Michael Pelosa because that's a name that was applied to him. And instead, Garrison Michael is the name that he assumed. And therefore, he believed that he wasn't lying to me by calling himself Garrison Michael and denying that he's Gary Michael Pelosa.
So once you received the information of Gary Michael Pelosa, did you then check that information with the date of birth on your records?
I did.
And did you discover anything in particular about any official state documents at that point?
I did.
What, if anything, did you discover?
I discovered that he had a license through the state of Missouri, which was suspended actually 2 times on the same date, which was in December. In addition to that, I discovered that he had outstanding warrants for his arrest, and I don't exactly recall where those warrants were.
Okay. And did you discover any documentation that related to the state of Kansas?
I did.
And what was that documentation?
That was a Social Security card in a package, a Ziploc bag, along with several financial cards and a Kansas driver's license, which appeared quite old, that was actually concealed inside the fuse box underneath the hood inside the vehicle.
So after you made this check and received this information, what did you do at that point?
I placed the individual, the driver, under arrest.
And what was he placed under arrest for?
Interference, providing a fictitious name with law enforcement, which appeared to be in direct attempt to impede my investigation, in addition to driving while suspended, and for the registration violation.
Okay. And did you inform the defendant that's what he was being placed under arrest for?
I did, and if I might add, also, he was under arrest due to the outstanding warrants. In that conversation, we discussed the reason why that we were having such a mix-up or a miscommunication, or that there was contradicting and contrary information that was being given out. He explained that he did not, one, recognized that he had a social security number because that number was assigned to him through the Social Security Administration. So therefore he didn't declare ownership of it. And then even in addition to that, he did not declare ownership of any license issued through any state due to the fact that he did not agree to the terms in which the contractual relationship was constructed between him and whichever issuing state it was. At that point, it was a determination of whether or not it was going to be allowed to remain, which was in largely consent out of the ownership of the store, which was the Andover Quick Shop, and in addition to the owner of the vehicle, which at the time, or at this time, I don't recall his exact name. But I was in conversation with the owner of the vehicle and the store to determine if the vehicle could remain there. At the end of that, that's what was determined, was that we would leave the car there with the keys with the store clerk, and then the owner would make arrangements to have the car collected. And during the stop, thereabouts the time where I was still attempting to confirm the identity of the driver, I had requested a canine to come to the vehicle to conduct an open air sniff for the odor of narcotics. That canine deployment was conducted, which resulted positive for the odor of narcotics. Thus, at that point, we initiated a probable cause search.
And so what, if anything, did you discover in the vehicle during that search?
We discovered numerous documents to both Garrison Michael and Gary Michael Pelosa. We discovered several miscellaneous items, and then we also discovered underneath the hood, that's where we had discovered the license, the Social Security card, in addition to a large Ziploc bag full of unused syringes or hypodermic needles. In addition to that, found an amount of green leafy botanical substance, which I identified as marijuana. After having discovered the items themselves, I ended up advising the defendant of his rights according to Miranda prior to questioning him about the ownership of them. Of course, which out of turn, I had previously testified that this is where I had learned from from the driver that his position toward his driver's license and the Social Security card. But in addition to that, he denied ownership over the marijuana, but indicated that he had used marijuana to help him sleep that night before.
And so he didn't claim ownership of the substance that you believe to be marijuana, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so is there anything else with this investigation in particular that you feel is relevant and the court should know about today?
No, sir.
Your Honor, at this point, that's all the questions I have for Sergeant Akers at this time.
All right, Mr. Pelosa, do you have any cross-examination questions?
Ma'am, I'm still challenging subject matter jurisdiction. It can't be waived, and it must be proven. Until it is proven, the court cannot go on. But I will ask the officer questions under necessity only. Mr. Akers, when you were following the vehicle in question, did you ever at any time put your lights on?
No, I did not.
Okay, so how did you end up approaching the defendant?
As previously testified, as the vehicle continued westbound on 54 and eventually pulled into the parking lot at the Andover Quick Shop, I had turned in behind the vehicle. At this time, I had turned my lights on and conducted the traffic stop.
You didn't. Well, was he driving the car when you stopped the car, or did you stop the car at all?
Yes, he was driving the car when I stopped the car.
So you claim that you didn't have the lights on, but you stopped the car. How is that possible?
In correction to that, I said, as the vehicle pulled into the parking lot is when the time in which I turned my lights on to conduct the traffic stop.
You claim that he had a suspended Missouri driver's license. Do you have any evidence of that? And can you please state the Missouri driver's license number when you find it?
Let him give one answer at a time.
I have, if I can offer a correction to my testimony, that the defendant does not have a Missouri driver's license, but it had one through Kansas. On December 14th of 2022, had been issued a a suspension for failure to answer citation, which was issued through Missouri.
So the defendant doesn't have a Missouri driver's license.
No,
So what other things that you may be wrong at in your reporting then? Isn't it true that did you ever talk to the owner or the trustee of the car?
I talked to an individual that was identified as the owner, correct? Yes,
Well, he was identified as a trustee, wasn't he?
the vehicle was belonging to a trust. And this is the individual who I was explained by you was the owner of the vehicle.
Okay, if you're talking to me as me, I never said the trustee was the owner. Because the trustee
All
is
right, you're either gonna wait and testify or you're gonna cross-examine the witness now, sir. But you're not gonna start testifying in the middle of this cross-examination.
was the discussion you had with the driver, was it from his window or was he walking into the store?
As I recall, my initial contact was when you exited the driver's seat and I met with you at the back door of the back passenger driver side door of the vehicle.
Did you say hey or talk to the driver to keep him from stopping from walking into the store?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so he wasn't aware you were even there until you said, hey, I want to talk to you for a minute. Is that correct?
I can't speak to where the point in which you identified that I was there and trying to make contact with you.
Okay, so when you talked to the trustee, did he give you evidence that the car was properly registered, and did not he show you anything, send you on the phone that proved the receipt that the car was just registered?
Yes, he
Mr.
did.
Pelosa, excuse me, Mr. Pelosa, when you talk to the trustee, do you mean yourself or someone else?
The trustee of the trust of the car that was registered in. That's what I'm talking about.
Is
The-
that
the-
okay?
The car is registered to a trust, and he talked to the trustee because the driver
right.
the driver had given him the number, and the trustee had sent the receipt of the registration.
Okay, stop, you're testifying. So you don't mean that you are the trustee of the vehicle? You're not asking him that kind of
No,
question?
I'm not the
Okay,
trustee.
that's fine, go ahead.
I apologize, sir. Can you please restate your question?
Did the trustee show you any evidence that he had registered that automobile?
And so into clarification, the individual that you told me to speak with as the owner, as you've stated at this point, the trustee was a guy by the name of Carl Long. And I forget the trust or the name of the trust in which the vehicle was declared to have been ownership through. However, Mr. Long did send me records of a receipt, through an image of a receipt that he had paid for registration through the state of Missouri for the vehicle.
Did the plates have current, up-to-date stickers saying that the plate was registered?
I don't recall as far as like the exact stickers, but I recall that the registration was just recently purchased.
Okay, so now, if it was recently purchased, then how can it be not registered?
I don't know that I have the answer for that.
Did you explain to the driver what you found on your computer when you ran the tag?
Yes, I did.
And what came up on your computer?
That the registration was not valid, canceled, removed.
So you saw a receipt that showed that the car had just been registered, but now you're saying that your computer says it was removed.
That's correct. There was.
Do you remember the date that was on that receipt of the registration?
No, I do not.
Would it help me if I helped you recollect that was registered just the day before?
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask the court to have the cross-examination of Sergeant Akers continue to be questions rather than testimony by the defendant. I would object to that question.
Sustained.
Okay, did the registration show a date of the registration being just the day before?
I apologize. I don't have that in front of me. I don't know.
So you don't recall that how did he show you the receipt? Was it sent to you on your phone?
Yes, it was sent to my department issued cell phone.
But you don't recall the date of registration?
All I can recall is that it was before the date of the stop.
Okay,
I can't
Oh.
specify to the date in which it was because I don't remember.
okay. And you don't have your phone on, you just check that, do you?
No, sir.
Okay, was there consent given for the dog to sniff out the car?
No, there wasn't.
Did you get consent from the trustee?
As in Mr. Long?
Yes.
No,
Did you have a warrant to search the car?
no, I did not.
Okay, so you just went ahead and searched it anyway.
I searched the vehicle based out of prerequisite case law established in the state of Kansas, which predicates our ability to execute a probable cause search based on a canine deployment, which was done in accordance to established case law.
Okay, what was the probable cause to put a dog on the car?
I didn't need probable cause to deploy the canine.
So the canine operator doesn't need a warrant?
Not in this case, no.
Okay, I have no more questions for this witness. I would like to call the state of Kansas to the stand.
Hold up. You haven't gotten, it's still the state's evidence. Mr. Baca, any further evidence? Further witnesses?
Your Honor, I have no redirect for Sergeant Akers. I have no further witnesses. I just am going to ask to admit the certified driving record on screen share.
Very well, and do you have a KBI lab report to do the same with?
Your Honor, I do not have a KBI lab report to do the
All
same.
right. All right. Do we have field tests?
Your Honor, there was a field test that was performed, and I can ask Sergeant Akers about that, or if the court would like to inquire.
I'll just have you do it.
Your Honor, there was within the affidavit that was prepared and filed by Sergeant Akers, the buds that were found in the vehicle were field tested and provided a positive result for THC, according to his affidavit.
That's for this witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why don't you go ahead and ask him about that to get that on the record?
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Akers, did you perform a field test on any of the items that were taken from the vehicle?
I did.
What items did you perform the field test on? Can you describe them?
Specifically, as previously testified, as the green botanical buds, which I suspected was marijuana, that had been found inside of a yellow grocery stack, stuffed into an air intake underneath the hood in the engine compartment of the vehicle.
And do you recall the result of that field test that you performed on those buds?
Yes, I do. It resulted positive for THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol.
And do you recall what the field test unit was that you used?
I don't exactly recall the test unit. That being said, it was a Lynn Pavey tester.
Okay. No further questions on this matter for Sergeant Akers, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Pelosa, any follow-up with what the officer just inquired about, the test?
So you're saying you don't have any test results to show to the court?
No, sir. The test itself is kind of a one and done, or so to speak. And it involves the use of some acidic material. It's an individual test kit, and it's disposed of.
So you're saying you have no evidence to show the court?
That test kit was disposed of, yes.
Okay, I rest.
Mr. Baca, it's up to you to rest because we're representing your.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions for Sergeant Akers, nor do I have any further witnesses. At this time, the state would move to admit the certified driving record under KSA 6465. It has the proper seal and attestation on it, and I will publish that if the court does accept that into evidence.
The court will accept that into evidence.
And we're back on YouTube, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Baca, you had an announcement?
Your Honor, after admission of the certified driving record, the state would rest at this time.
Very well. Now, Mr. Pelosa, if you want to present any evidence on your own behalf, this is the time to do that. You can call yourself as a witness. You don't have to. Your silence will not be used as evidence of guilt against you. If you do choose to testify, Mr. Baca would have the right to cross-examine you, just as you've had with his witnesses. So at this time, sir, do you have any evidence you want to present?
I have no evidence available to me right now since I'm held against my will in a place I can't get evidence from. So,
You mean you're in the Butler County Detention Facility?
yes, I am.
And you have Mr. Patterson as standby counsel. Did you want Mr. Patterson to participate at this time?
I didn't appoint him standby counsel, and I don't know. He's an interloper, and I don't want him to even be involved in my case. I can't get him off of my case because I'm exercising my Sixth Amendment right, and I don't know who has authority to give someone an attorney when they don't want one. And I don't see any authority on who can do that, but it seems like he's stuck to me somehow, and I don't want him stuck to me somehow. I don't want him as backup counsel. He's not doing anything. Uh, I know he's
Well,
there to represent the trust, but that's another issue.
all right. Then please proceed, or are you resting?
I want to call the state of Kansas to the stand. I get a right to cross-examine my accuser. And I want them to show me a photo ID with driver's license or whatever, state of Kansas clearly printed on it, current street address.
All right, sir, do you have a person with a body that you can call to represent the state of Kansas? Sergeant Akers, perhaps?
Well, you can't represent the state of Kansas without presenting Kansas first. To represent something, something has to be presented in the first time.
Well, sir, it is your duty, if you're representing yourself,
Right.
to call your witnesses. If your witnesses won't appear voluntarily, it's your duty to subpoena them. You didn't want Mr. Patterson to subpoena anyone for you or have any witnesses ready,
Well,
so,
the plaintiff should be in the court, though, or in this hearing. The plaintiff should be here.
sir, you can either call your witnesses or rest. It's up to you.
I want to testify.
Well, the state didn't call anybody that you wanted to testify. If you want to call witnesses, call them now.
I would like to testify myself.
Very well, please raise your right hand. I thought you just did, though.
Did I raise my right hand and swear in?
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Okay, I'm going to testify by doing an oration.
All right, you're Gary Michael Pelosa, the defendant herein, is that correct?
Yes, I do represent as the beneficiary, the defendant, but I have a right to testify for the trust. Since I'm the beneficiary of that trust. On the day of question, Officer Akers did not pull me over, did not put lights on, and I was walking into the quick shop on 114 Highway 54 because my car was having problems. That's why I had transmission problems. It was heating up and I was going in the store for water. He said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And I said, "What do you want to talk about?" He says, "Well, the condition of your car." I said, "What about the condition of my car?" He said, "Well, I ran your plates and nothing came back." And that was very curious to me. I said, "What do you mean nothing came back? It just got registered yesterday." And we went around. I says, "I don't own the car. It belongs to Heirloom Trust, and I've got the trustee. I'll call him up." And he talked to the trustee, and the trustee sent him evidence that the car was just registered the day before. So there is no way that it could have been recalled or said invalid or anything like that. It is still valid in Missouri. And if anybody wants to check, they can call up Missouri and find out that that is a valid license plate that was issued by the state of Missouri. So I don't know where he's coming up with his testimony saying that it came back valid, because he told me specifically that nothing came back on the screen, not that it came back canceled or void. That's impossible. I said, where do you think I got the plate from? I went into DMV and stole the plate and stole the sticker on there. It was a brand new plate with a brand new sticker. And the trustee just sent him on his phone uh, evidence of the registration of it the day before. So I don't understand Sergeant Akers' testimony because Sergeant Akers is not telling the truth. I was walking into the store and he just did a fishing exposition because it was packed down because I was moving from Missouri to Kansas and it had a lot of stuff in it. He asked me if there's methamphetamine in the car. I said, there's no methamphetamine in the car. So he said, well, I'm going to run a dog around your car. I said, you don't have consent. He was on a fishing expedition and he found marijuana. He was looking for meth because he told me he was looking for meth. I have no idea where he found the syringes from. I don't believe there was any syringes in the car because I don't use syringes. He found a lot of bottles of supplements because I'm a health nut. I did tell him about the marijuana being purchased legally in Missouri and I use it for sleeping. I just happened to bring it over with me in the car and I told him it was purchased legally in Missouri. So his testimony does not jive with what was said at the location. And I don't know why he would go and misrepresent what was actually said and done at that time. When he asked me my name, I said, I am Gary Michael, but I go by Garrison. I said, I use Garrison Michael, but my name is Gary Michael. I don't use my family name. So I just use my given name, which is Gary Michael, and my family's name is Pelosi. It doesn't belong to me. So when he asked me what my name is, my given name is Gary Michael, and I go by Garrison. And I use Garrison Michael and without the family name. So there was no intent to deceive him because I told him why. And when he asked me for a social security number, I said, I don't have a number. It's not my number. If you look on the back of the social security card, it says this is property of the Social Security Administration. So it cannot be my property to say I have or I own a social security card. It is the Social Security Administration's card. And that's evidence on everybody's social security card. If they turn around and turn it to the back and read it, it does not belong to me. So it's not my card. And I can't testify. I was not trying to be deceptive. I was just being factual. And for him saying that I told him the whole purpose of me not using the family name. I preferred my given name and I used the name Garrison because I like the full name Garrison instead of Gary. I said my name is Gary Michael, but I go by Garrison Michael. So that's not fake. That's not false. That's my name. It's my given name. I gave it to myself, and my family gave me Gary, but I prefer Garrison. So I have tons of documentation. I've been using it for over 30 years, and he found documentation with Garrison Michael on it that proves that what I'm saying is true. I use that name. I have an alias, if you want to call it an alias, but I wasn't being deceptive. He found evidence that I do use that name with correspondence and legal documents that he found in my car. So I wasn't trying to be deceptive there. Uh, I don't understand why he was so permissive in trying to think. I was told by listening to the other officers there that Missouri was a methamphetamine state, so he assumed that I must have had methamphetamine because my car was loaded down. That's the only thing I can assume for his reasoning of that. I did admit to purchasing marijuana legally in Missouri, and through the sister clause, I thought I would be able to use marijuana in the state of Kansas because I have obtained it legally in the state of Missouri. If I'm wrong in that, I'm sorry. I had no mens rea. I had no intent to do that because I am a health nut, but I have sleeping problems and I have headaches, and that I use it for medicinal purposes. So I wasn't trying to be deceptive, but that's the occurrence of that discussion, and I was not stopped or pulled over. I was already parked, and I was walking into a store when I was approached and asked questions about my automobile. I was trying to be as truthful as I can with the facts that I represent, and I wasn't trying to deceive. I told him honestly, I bought it in Missouri. So that explains the marijuana. And my name thing, the fact that the registration, when I told I got the trustee that I got a ticket for not having registered plates, he got very angry and he sent the prosecutor and Mr. Patterson copies of the registration of that car. So I don't know. I know Mr. Baca
What are you
wasn't the
talking
one.
about?
Say what?
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the trustee of the car. The car is registered to a trust, Heirloom Trust. The trustee had sent copies of the registration to Mr. Patterson and to the attorney's office, the prosecuting attorney's office. I don't know exactly who he sent it to, but the office had got copies of that registration to show that the car was properly registered. So I don't know where this car hasn't been legally registered. If you call Missouri up, you'll see that the car is properly registered in the state of Missouri. And you would think that you'd be able to use the car that was registered legally in one state throughout the whole United States. I don't know why. Mr. Akers said that it didn't come up on his screen, but that registration, that plate is current and it's valid. So I don't know where the accusation of he has no evidence to show that it was canceled or any. He's just saying stuff. He's misrepresented of our dialogue and misrepresented my name. So I don't know why he's doing that, but it's done, and he has no evidence of any field test on even on the marijuana, even though I'm admitting that I had marijuana. There's no evidence, and he got caught in stuff, and he changes his testimony. So I just want to make that as a fact here, and I'm done talking.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, I am going to render my decision on these counts. So you both have had a chance to talk and to present your evidence. Now it's my turn, Mr. Pelosi, to talk. And I would tell you, as I would anyone else, it's too late for evidence. You've told me you've got all your evidence in, so don't interrupt, please. We'll go through the charges. Count 1 accuses you of interference with a law enforcement officer, alleging that you on January 21st, 2026 in Butler County, falsely reported to a law enforcement officer, a law enforcement agency, or state investigative agency any information knowing that such information is false and intending to influence, impede, or obstruct such officers or agencies' duty in violation of KSA 215904, subsections, etc., interferes with law enforcement officer. Well, the evidence is clear from both sides that when the officer asked for identification, he was given a name other than the legal name of the defendant, Gary Michael Pelosi. The defendant gave the name of Garrison Michael. Garrison Michael, and he said, the defendant says, I am Garrison Michael. I go by Gary Michael, but I don't use my family's name. Pelosi is my family name. Well, that to me is a clear admission that you told the officer a name other than your legal name. Now, you can go by an alias all you want. You can choose to use the name Garrison Michael, but when a law enforcement officer is asking for your legal identity to investigate a violation of the law, any reasonable person would know to give their legal name. And if you didn't give your legal name, there could only be one reason. Either you're too stupid to give your true name, which I don't find this defendant to be stupid, or the other reason would be that you're trying to keep the officer from knowing who you really are. That one is one that I believe is true, that you did not want the officer to know your given name. He would have found out that you had a suspended license. He would have found out that you had things going on with your driver's license in both Kansas and Missouri, and that gave you a good reason to tell him that you were someone else. I don't doubt that you go by Garrison Michael as your alias, but your legal name is not Garrison Michael from what the evidence says. And by not giving the officer the name Gary Michael Pelosi, it caused him much obstruction, and he had to spend a lot of extra time going through records to find out dates of birth and names that matched and ones that didn't and people that were dead with that name. But eventually he put enough information together, he was able to figure out your real name. And even then you kind of hesitated by admitting that you were Gary Michael Pelosi. So I find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of count 1, interference by providing false information. Count 2, possession of marijuana. Frankly, when the state rested, I was prepared to dismiss that case. The law is quite clear that field tests will amount to and be considered as probable cause in preliminary hearings where the burden of proof is proof beyond or proof, probable cause proof. But since we're in trial and we don't have lab reports for proof beyond a reasonable doubt, I thought, well, the state missed that one. But then you testified, Mr. Pelosi, and you admitted every which way you could that that was in fact marijuana, that you purchased it legally in Missouri, that you used it to sleep, and that you knew that it was marijuana. So you basically shored that charge up beyond a reasonable doubt. So between the state's evidence and yours, I find you guilty of possession of marijuana in count 2. Count 3, driving while suspended. The certified records made it very clear that your license was suspended. I know you objected to the 2 reports from the state of Missouri claiming they were falsified, but taking the report as a whole, I find your license was suspended on January 21st and that you had a prior conviction for driving while suspended. So I find you guilty of that charge as well. Failure to register your vehicle seems to be the most or the least difficult for me to find you guilty of, because it wasn't registered. Now, I know you gave me a good explanation for why you believe it was registered, but most of it was based on this hearsay of the unavailable declarant, allegedly a trustee of the vehicle. But I'm convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the vehicle was not properly registered. So I find you guilty of all charges and we'll proceed to sentencing at this time. Mr. Baca, does the state have recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, in regards to count 1, state would recommend a $100 fine, 6 months jail suspended. We would recommend 12 months reporting probation. Also recommend standard conditions of probation, the probation fee, and court costs. In regards to count 2, state would not recommend a fine, would recommend 6 months jail suspended, concurrent with count 1. Also 12 months reporting probation, with a special condition to obtain a drug and alcohol evaluation and follow all recommendations. In regards to count 3, state would recommend the $100 mandatory minimum fine, recommend 8 months jail suspended, concurrent with all counts, 12 months reporting probation, and Your Honor, the statute is specific that he must serve 5 days in jail since this is a second offense, but I would not have objection to credit for time served on that 5 days, which I think he may have already met.
Okay.
Finally, Your Honor, in regards to count 4, $50 fine, 30 days jail suspended, concurrent with other counts, 12 months reporting probation.
Deputy, if you're still there, do you know how much jail time credit he might have?
I do not.
All right.
I was arrested on the 21st of January.
So you've been in jail since January 21st?
Yes, I have.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Pelosi, if you have anything you want to say about your sentence, I would allow you to do so. If you want to rely on your standby counsel, I would allow you to do so. Or you can remain silent if you wish.
Could I talk to Mr. Patterson for a second?
All right, Mr. Patterson, can you come out of standby mode?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, could you please put them in a brief, Mr. Patterson, breakout room, please, Destiny?
Your Honor,
Yes,
just want to let you know before we go back, I do have one small announcement before sentencing is rendered.
thank you. All right, we are back on the record in BU 26 CR 25. All parties appearing as before. Mr. Bacchus said while counsel and defendant were in conversation that he had an announcement. Do you want to make that at this time, Mr. Baca?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just did want to point out, it was pointed out to me by staff that an amended information was filed that did dismiss count 4, the registration. I just wanted to have complete candor with the court that we did prior dismiss that. I believe information was turned into our office.
Interesting. All right, well, there you go, Mr. Pelosa. By taking this to trial, you just got one count to go away. Failure to register your vehicle has previously been dismissed by the state, and I will make it formally dismissed with prejudice at this time, meaning it cannot be refiled. Was there anything else you want to say before I pronounce your sentence, Mr. Pelosa?
No, I'm good.
Okay. On count 1, interference with a law enforcement officer. Your sentence at this time is a $100 fine and 6 months in the Butler County Jail. On count 2, possession of marijuana, no fine, but concurrent 6 months in the county jail. Count 3, driving while suspended after a prior conviction. $100 in fines and 8 months concurrent county jail. There will be no sentence on count 4 as that has been dismissed. Now, all 3 of these counts will run concurrently. The defendant must serve a minimum 5 days mandatory in jail, but that is covered by time served, it looks like. Likewise, the remainder of his terms will be given credit for time served. So it is possible that he has maxed out his sentence. Mr. Baca, I don't know if anyone has put a pencil to that, or Mr. Patterson. But if he's been there since January 21st, there's a chance he's either maxed or pretty close to that 8 months. If he has not maxed out his sentence, he will be granted a 12-month reporting probation, where he will have to see a probation officer, and the officer will have to determine if interstate compact will allow a transfer to his home state in Missouri. If you have not maxed your sentence and you go on this 12-month reporting probation, all standard conditions will apply. You will be required to call the probation officer immediately after this hearing at 316-322-4153 and give them all of your contact information, and they'll direct you accordingly. You are to have no alcohol and no illegal drugs, and I don't care if it is legal in Missouri, it's not illegal federally, and you're not to violate any federal laws. And even if it is legal federally, you're not going to possess it as a condition of this probation. And Mr. Baca, is there anything else I need to specifically order here?
Judge, I think the only things I didn't see, the probation fee, court
Yes.
costs, and then the drug and alcohol eval. I was not sure if the court was going to.
Yes, I do want to order the drug and alcohol evaluation and follow it. And as far as amounts, Count one, the fine is $100. No fine on count two. Count three, $100. No fine on count four because it was dismissed. Now, the KBI, the fact that you didn't get a KBI fee just saved you $400 in lab fees. But so that's to your benefit. $158 in court costs. Is it 158, Destiny? It is, isn't it?
It is, Your Honor, for a criminal case.
$60 supervision fee. Now, if you've maxed your sentence out, there won't be that $60, but otherwise there will. I think that comes to about $418. You know how long it might take you to pay that, sir?
418, probably 6 months.
How about if I give you 4 months, 120 days to start with, and if you need more, we can get it.
Okay.
All right, to pay you to the 120 days. And if there's nothing else, then we'll be adjourned, but you must contact probation as soon as this hearing is over at that number I gave you and violate no laws. That's a standard condition, but I'm going to order that as well.
So I have time served on my sentence. I'm confused on the sentence. Okay, time served.
Your concurrent sentence is 8 months, but you're going to get credit for time served. So if you've been in since January 21st of 2026, you're getting pretty close. Oh, I'm doing that math all wrong, aren't I, Mr. Baca?
Yeah, I maybe close to 3 of the 8 months. At this
Yes,
point.
I'm sorry. I was thinking that this happened in 25, and then I happened to say, no, that's 26. Sorry to get your hopes up. Credit for time served that'll come off the 8 months. So you will be on probation. Okay. So your credit for time served will come off the mandatory 5 days that you have to serve under the law. It will come off of the 6 months, or I'm sorry, the 8 months. And you will have to go on probation for the remainder of those months. If you violate that probation, then it can be revoked and you can have to serve the remainder of whatever is left after you take your time served off the 8 months.
I see.
Thought you gave me an interesting look, Mr. Baca, when I said you'd maxed it out.
Oh, so no worries, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Pelosa, you are to go now and call probation at that number I gave you. Do you still have it?
Yes, you got it right. Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Patterson, thank you for being standby.
Your
Anything
Honor.
else? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to clarify. So he's got an 8 month underlying sentence.
All of the charges run concurrently for a total of 8 months maximum. Yes. 8 month sentence, take away the credit for time served.
And he's to be released on 12 months reporting probation.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you getting that, especially the way I botched the way I started. All right, everyone. Anything else?
Well, Your Honor, he has another case, his MR case, I believe it's on.
yes. Yes, we have to take that up. All right, Deputy, leave him here for a minute till I figure out what this is all about. Mr. Patterson, what's this about? I've got like
May-
5 counts of duty of governor to arrest person charged who has fled from justice. Is that just extradition? Is that what that is?
Judge, I haven't seen that case.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
even know if I was appointed. Maybe I was. I don't remember.
Well, the judge.
Can I say something?
If you dare, Mr. Patterson usually doesn't like his clients talking too much, but go ahead.
Well, you should have received a notice today. It was delivered to the court on that case. The case that's in question that has a warrant was defective, and there was no service done, so there was a no-show, so there was a bench warrant. But in the docket, which I have right here, shows by the clerk that there was no service. So that's a defective warrant, and that I've got currently a notice to the court judge,
Okay.
Miss Casey, that it's defective, and she should be recalling that warrant that caused.
Well, it is a fugitive. It does look like an extradition. It looks like a fugitive warrant, Mr. Pelosa. The let me pull up the complaint information in that. It says fugitive information. Mr. Regaler filed that as a fugitive information. Operating a vehicle on a highway without a valid license. Count 2, owner operating moving vehicle without maintaining financial responsibility. I don't know if it doesn't say, okay.
Those are not extraditable. They're tickets, ma'am, and that's interesting.
I'm going to probably have to get Mr. Regier here to explain what he has filed. It looks like from the way he's worded this fugitive information, you have a warrant out of 6th Judicial Circuit in Platte County, Missouri, for operating a vehicle on a highway without a valid license, and he gives the case number. And then in count 2, he says a warrant was signed the same day, November 18th, 2022, in the same court for operating a motor vehicle without maintaining financial responsibility, and he gives a case number, which is a little bit different than the one in count 2. In count 3, he charges that on November 18th of 22 in the 6th Judicial Circuit, Platte County, you're charged with displaying possession of a motor vehicle, TRL plates of another person, and case number, and it's a different case number. Count 4, he says on that same date, you in Missouri, same jurisdiction, you committed an offense against the laws of the state emergency of Missouri, failure to yield emergency vehicle sounding siren and displayed lights. And then in count 5, he gives yet another case number out of that jurisdiction saying you failed to register your motor vehicles. In all my years, I don't recall ever seeing this type of charging document, but it to me looks like there must be a warrant out of Missouri somewhere wanting the fugitive return on a failure to appear. And I do see a note, February 6th, there was an extradition hearing. So let me take a look at the notes on that. Judge Lee presiding. Attorney Darren Patterson present via Zoom at a separate location. Defendant wishing to represent himself. And Mr. Patterson requested to withdraw while the defendant's wanting to file his own motions. But then the defendant was not willing to represent himself with standby counsel. As you said, you don't want standby counsel. You are challenging the court's jurisdiction. So Judge Lee set it over to my docket for trial today. And Mr. Patterson ordered to be at the hearing as standby, with the bonds to continue. Case caption 26 CR 25 and 26 MR 19. But counsel, without Mr. Regier here to say what this is, he doesn't make reference to a Missouri bond number, so we could advise the defendant that he has a right to file a motion for extradition. Do either of you, counsel, want to take a gander at what this is?
And Judge, I'm trying to pull it up and I can't even pull up the MR case.
Oh, gosh. Do we know, Destiny, why he can't get that? Because it says he's appointed in that 26 MR 19.
Traffic tickets. There's traffic tickets, and there's one other case that I'm having them recall the warrant because it's defective. The
Well,
warrant.
sir, I understand that those appear to be Missouri cases. What I can't understand is why they're on my docket if they're Missouri cases, unless our jailer has a warrant for those cases in Missouri, and I need to be entitling you to extradition rights or allowing you to sign a waiver of extradition to go back voluntarily if you want to. So again, counsel, if you
Could I inquire what's the last digits on the MR? MR dash what?
19.
And Judge, I can, I think, give a bit more information when ready.
Okay, let's give Mr. Patterson a second to call that up if you can. Did you get it?
I was able to pull that up now. Yes. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, now, if you want to take a look at that and tell me if you've ever seen it filed like that. Maybe that's the way it should be, but it's not what I'm used to seeing. All right, Mr. Baca, you had something else you wanted to say while he's looking at that?
Your Honor, it's not much more than the complaint or information you're looking at, but we do have a copy of a warrant for arrest from Missouri in our documents as well. And it does look like it covers a couple different cases. So I can at least answer the question that I do believe Platte County, Missouri does have a warrant for his arrest for failure to appear on those cases.
All right.
And as you know, Judge, on a lot of these, if it's a misdemeanor, they're not usually they won't come and get them in a different state generally. So that's what I was trying to look on here. Is it even extraditable?
Yeah, I see where you're questioning that.
The
Well,
ticket,
here's the deal, Mr. Pelosa. I'm going to set this over just a little bit, just to kind of, do you want an attorney? Do you want Mr. Patterson to represent you on this? You can have an attorney on an extradition. Or do you want to just sign your waiver and go back voluntarily?
well, when would I go back?
Well, that's a good question. I don't want you going back until you've at least gotten on probation in this case. So you need to call your probation officer like I told you to.
Well, then I won't sign the waiver because by
Okay.
time my paperwork gets in to recall the warrant, it'll recall the warrant, and that warrant will be recalled, and I won't have to be extradited.
All right. So do you want an attorney or not?
If Mr. Patterson wants to continue on, I guess so, because it's an easy deal there. It's just getting it recalled, and I can show him the evidence. I have already got one in front of Judge Casey in Platte County that the case is
Hold on.
defective.
Well, I don't know that it's an easy deal or not. Getting any case dismissed can be a challenge sometimes. But Mr. Patterson, do you want to represent him on this?
Judge, if the court would appoint me on it, I will accept the appointment and represent him.
All right. You will be appointed on this MR case, which is an extradition. And so we need to get,
I would just ask that a formal appointment be filed and
that's what I was getting ready to say also, that we need to get an order appointing out to him destiny on on this case that has 5 counts. It's one case though. It says he's been appointed, but let's make sure he does actually get an actual order appointing. And then let's set this for a review date. And we'll do that on a Monday morning, Mr. Patterson.
Judge, yes, and I would just ask that we set it as soon as possible. This might be the only thing holding me in jail at this point.
Okay, Your Honor, we can actually put him on the Monday misdemeanor control at 9 a.m., March 30th. So just next Monday.
Monday, oh man, it's hard to believe Monday is March 30th at 9 a.m. How about that, Mr. Patterson?
That'll work. I'll get out there to the jail and talk with Mr. Pelosa, and we can be prepared.
Sounds good, Mr. Baca. Are you going to have Mr. Regier back by then?
Yes,
know-
he should be back by this Friday.
You might let him know that he needs to be on top of that and figure out what in the world is going on. I think
Yes, sir.
I think we've got it figured out, but since he filed it, he can. Thank you. Thank you all. And Mr. Pelosa, for now, you're remanded to the custody of the sheriff unless they decide otherwise when they do the math on your sentence. But you're still going to have to be held on this one, Deputy. He's to hold him on this one until Monday, March 30th at 9 a.m. so we can make sure we don't let him go when Missouri's got a valid warrant. If it is valid, we'll find that out.
I got a question. Can I ask a question?
Sir?
If the warrant on the one case that's holding me gets recalled, then what happens?
Well, if you can get all of these, get them recalled on all these charges, it would go away, but just taking one of the cases away isn't gonna make them all go away.
Well, the traffic tickets are not extraditable.
All right, well, talk to Mr. Patterson. He knows all that stuff very well, so respect his knowledge of Kansas law and his years of experience of Kansas law, and let him help you work on that.
Okay.
All right. He knows, he can answer that better than I can for you. All
Okay.
right, at this time, we will be in recess and everyone is excused. Thank you, folks, for